Welcome to this Astro Weather Report, and welcome to the last couple days of the Alchemist transit. Before we move into the piece, like always, we'll share a snapshot of the sky so that you know what's alive, what's happening today and coming up soon.
Yes, so here is right now, and it looks already like the moon and the sun are together. But if we look at the decimals, we see that the moon has not exactly caught up with the sun. It's still in the third line of the 47, and it needs to go into the sixth line. So we can look here instead, and we're going to see that we have exactly the same gene key or gate and the line in the sun as in the moon. And that's what we call a new moon. And we haven't had the moon and the sun coming together in Virgo during Virgo season until now, which is about a week before we go into the Libra season. So we can feel more Virgo energy here with this conjunction. And because we have so many planets retrograde, it might not really feel like planting new seeds. It might more feel like things are coming together in a Virgo sense. We have Mercury still retrograde here in Virgo during the full moon. So again, the energy is not necessarily feeling like, oh, new fresh energy, new moon. It's more about what's the hard work that you have been doing here in Virgo.
Yeah, and if you know anything about, the moon cycles and seeing that the moon is conjunct the suns are luminary. And you can see that the Earth is all the way on the other side in the 22. And so the moon is between the sun and the Earth. And so that's why it looks like it's not illuminated. That's why it's dark. That's why it's new. That's why it's fresh, is because we're not seeing the moon, because it's like the shadow is there from the sun pushing past it. But what we can think of this being in Virgo is that you've got a blank sheet of paper. Get organized, write down the things. What is the thing you're working on? See everything in front of you. And what is it that you have to move forward on? This is very practical energy. This is very much about setting yourself up for success. So do this during the new moon, and it will set you up for that fresh energy to come. But it's almost like you need to get that fresh sheet of paper out first.
And you see here that the moon and the sun are speaking to Pluto, they're speaking to Jupiter, they're speaking to Neptune. So there is communication in the chart, especially we have the earth signs that are communicating with each other. So fixed earth and then mutable earth and cardinal earth are together. So something connected to the earth element is, if you want to do a ritual or a ceremony or something today for the new moon, do it in the element of earth, because that's where we have the most energy activated. And then we can take a little look here at the gene keys and what stands out. Of course, we have the cross of informing. So 47, 22, 12, and 11, those are the archetypes of the alchemist, the invitation to grace, the prophet, and the idealist. And it's a 6-2, so it is about the big perspective. The key word for the 47 is futility, detriment. So the sun doesn't necessarily like to be where it is. It's a difficult position for which there is no exaltation. The sun in detriment, where the strength of will alone may find a way to adapt and survive, but without hope of ever overcoming the oppression. Life is an ordeal stripped of realization. So having this illuminated in the new moon, and knowing that the new moon is setting the stage for not just right now, but it's a new moon cycle that starts in this energy and it's coming. So the 47 is about the transmutation of karma, and the 22 is inviting us to go to grace instead of dishonor.
Yeah, use your nodal environment that we have the 42, endings death, and the 32 to help us decide and discern what needs to be let go, what needs to be stripped away, what needs to be dropped, what needs to have completion. You may all feel like a part of you is dying, a reality is dying, a life that you have lived is dying, so that a new can emerge. And so while it may be an uncomfortable process, know that on the other side of it will be something completely new. And that's what the alchemist aims to do, is to turn something into gold. And so all the oppression has a purpose, and just trust the process that you're in right now.
What has changed is the fifth line of the nodal environment. So there can be in the environment projection during what's going on, where we're not really moving forward. We are creating some order, but it's definitely an environment where projections are possible. And these projections are going to have to do with me or we. And it's important to not be over focused on either or, but what the North Node is showing us is that the trajectory for us is more the individual truth. And we are probably going to see some things coming up and coming out. And it's always about standing in your own truth in those crazy times.
Yay! Crazy times together. Woohoo. So we're going to be moving forward into the Peacemaker. Okay, also, another thing you can do, self-care rituals, routines, like do something to nourish yourself. Tomorrow I'm going to go to the spa and spend the whole day at the spa. I'm going to get a massage, I'm going to get a facial, a manicure and a pedicure, and just relax with one of my friends. So I think if you have the means to be able to do something even as simple as a bubble bath or going in the ocean, that could be helpful too. Or when you're at the ocean, bury yourself in the sand. That feels so good sometimes. If you're not like a sandphobe where you're like, I don't like all the sand all over me, do something that's connected to either water or the earth. It'll be helpful. And salt is very purifying. So that'll help with this transmutation process too.
We also just recorded a Libra roadmap where you're creating a roadmap with your own Libra and 7th house activation. And then it's giving you some of the action steps that you can take.
Yeah, so you can check that out. We'll also be sending some more stuff about business by design, because we will pick that back up next week, and we're going to be doing spark of creativity and tuning into your Uranus activation and hopefully simplifying that activation for you, since Uranus is in gate 23. Let's make it practical and usable for something that is so erratic and like, oh, here it is. Like, it's a spark of innovation. So it comes, and when you know how to navigate it, you can navigate the shock with more ease than kind of fumbling around trying to figure out what you're going to do with this thing. So yeah, prep your nervous system for that one. More self-care.
And follow your inner guidance and your own medicine, like you can see here in the middle of the chart. So happy new moon. It's happening in less than 5 hours.
Well, thank you for joining us today for your astro weather report, and we will return next week. So thank you and happy new moon. Bye.